As many of us predicted, solo leveling has dominated the winter anime releases, and will most likely go on to be the best anime release of the year, with the long anticipated Kaiju number 8 possibly being a close second.
Wait, what?
Over the past few months, we've followed Jinwoo's journey as he levels up from the weakest E-rank hunter, being able to take on stronger opponents each time, a skill that is unheard of in this universe, as once a hunter awakens their power, that's the strongest they'll ever be. While persons are able to train and refine their skills, they can never increase their rank. Through the power of the system, however, Jinwoo is able to continuously increase his rank as he levels up. With an ability like this, there's no limit to how powerful he's able to get. So with this in mind, let's try to determine how strong Jinwoo has actually become, and what exactly his current rank is following the events of the Season 1 finale as he completes his job change quest. Since his introduction in episode 1, it's made very clear to us that Jinwoo starts off as not only an E-rank hunter, but is also the weakest E-rank hunter there's ever been. The weakest hunter of all mankind, as he's affectionately called, as most of his raids result in him being seriously injured or coming close to death, even in the weakest of E-rank dungeons.
You seriously need to be more careful.
When he's suspected of having a reawakening after surviving the double dungeon, we're given an actual reading of his power. He manages to score a 10 on the mana meter, which completely dispels any hope of his power being reawakened. In fact, the average E-rank hunter normally manages to get a score of at least 70, showing us that Jinwoo has literally been surviving by luck and determination since his journey as a hunter started. What the Hunters Association didn't know was that he actually did receive a reawakening, just nothing like they'd ever seen.
Why'd they leave without asking about this screen? But then again, maybe they couldn't see it.
Before going any further, there are a few basic things that we need to understand about the system and how it works. Think of Jinwoo as a player in a game, and the system as an interface that keeps track of his progress, manages his inventory, and notifies him of any status updates when necessary. His combat ability can be increased in various ways. By completing the daily quests set by the system, he's given ability points which he's able to use to increase his base stats, such as his strength, agility, perception, vitality, and intelligence. These ability points cannot be used to increase his level. This is done so only through combat experience, as when he defeats a monster or anything that threatens his life, he receives experience points, and as his level increases, so does his power ranking. Also, each time he levels up, all his base stats increase by 1 additional point. He also receives buffs from his active title, as well as any equipped items, some of which may also cause debuffs to his opponents. Along with receiving ability points for completing daily quests, he receives a full recovery as well as a loot box containing a random item each time. If this wasn't enough incentive to complete the daily quests, failure to do so results in Jinwoo being sent to the penalty zone containing high-ranked centipede monsters, where he must survive for 4 hours.
Come on, you're kidding.
And that's as much as you need to know about the system for now. At this point, we've seen that the system actually wants Jinwoo to get stronger, and often triggers special quests to help him increase his level, which brings us to his first instance dungeon after his reawakening. After days of completing his daily quests, we can already tell that this is not the same weakling we were introduced to in episode 1. And with the trauma of being too weak to protect himself and the people around him, we see that Jinwoo continuously allocates his ability points into increasing his strength stat. As one of his daily quest rewards, Jinwoo receives a key to an instance dungeon for which he must defeat the boss in order to leave, and without a party to help him, he has no choice but to do this alone. Here, we can confidently assess Jinwoo as being a low E rank, as while he has gotten stronger, he still remains at level 1. A 3-on-1 assault by some E rank goblins shows us just how far Jinwoo has actually come. Not so long ago, he was almost killed by a single E rank goblin, but now he manages to defeat all 3 with little difficulty. He then faces and manages to take down a steel-fanged Lycan, using the sword left by Kim Sang-shik in the double dungeon. This gives Jinwoo his first level up, advancing him to level 2.
Completing daily quests never changed that.
While Jinwoo himself wasn't strong enough to defeat the Lycans, the use of Kim's magic sword was a great help in defeating the entire wolf pack, giving him the title of Wolf Assassin as he levels up to level 15, putting him at a low to mid D rank, as he gets ready to face the dungeon boss, Blue Venom Fanged Kasaka. This was actually a tricky fight to gauge, as Jinwoo and Kasaka were at this point quite similar in strength. We know this because of a function of the system. When a magic beast is weaker than Jinwoo, their name appears above their head in white. When their strength is similar to his, their name appears orange. And when the magic beast is stronger, their name appears red. In the case of Kasaka, the name appears orange, signifying their relative in strength. But with Kasaka's scales being too thick for the sword to penetrate, even before being broken, the dungeon boss had the slight edge based on defense.
Between its speed and how it throws its weight around, getting through its defense is gonna be tricky. I mean, what can I do against armor this thick?
Determined not to continue being seen as weak, Jinwoo manages to take down Kasaka and gains another 3 levels in the process.
I'll get stronger if it's the last thing I do.
He also receives a C-rank dagger called Kasaka's Venom Fang, which inflicts paralysis and drains 1% HP per second when stabbed due to the effects of Kasaka's poison. He also receives Kasaka's Venom Gland, which when ingested reduces all physical damage by 20%, but permanently damages muscles and reduces strength by 35%. He doesn't drink it immediately, but instead decides to hold on to it just the same. At this point, we can estimate Jinwoo to be at minimum a peak D rank or a low C rank, and we actually do get a glimpse of his power immediately after his fight against Kasaka. Nearby, there had been a D rank dungeon break, and the assault team put together by the Hunters Association hadn't been able to break the boss's defenses to take it down, something Jinwoo was able to do with a full power throw of his broken sword, shattering the boss's defenses and allowing the assault team to quickly defeat it.
Let's see! Look, its barrier's down! Now's our chance!
He determines that while the boss was D rank, it was significantly weaker than Kasaka, which she had just fought and killed.
Jinwoo, was that you?
It's after this that we see Jinwoo start to think more carefully about the distribution of his ability points. Increasing his strength allows him to deal more damage, but as he rightfully determines, it makes no sense if he's not able to land a hit on his opponent. As a result, he starts to allocate points to his agility and perception, along with the usual strength.
Okay, I've got it. That looks good.
The next time we would see Jinwoo in action would be in his first C-rank dungeon raid as part of Hwang Dongsuk's assault team. After being left for dead inside the boss room along with Jinwoo feels confident that he's able to take on the dungeon boss, something Dongsuk, a high C rank, felt like he himself wouldn't be able to do.
So yeah, they're as good as dead. That's the one part of my plan that's an absolute guarantee.
Jinwoo even points out that in order for Jinwoo to beat the boss on his own, he would need to be a B rank or at the very least a high C rank. However, this doesn't deter Jinwoo as he gets ready to take on the spider.
Taking on this thing. It's worth a shot. They call us hunters for a reason. And it's about time the real hunt begins.
Similar to Kasaka, the spider's body proves too strong for the weapon to penetrate, which says a lot since it's actually made from Kasaka's fang. Jinwoo realizes that in order to defeat it, he needs to find its weak spot, and with his fatigue rapidly rising, he needs to find it quickly. And for a time, it actually looks like he may be able to pull it off, unlocking a new skill called Dash, which increases his speed by 30% when activated. But with the problem of his fatigue rapidly increasing, he doesn't put up a fight for much longer, and was actually about to lose the fight had it not been for the full recovery he had earned for completing his daily quest that morning.
If one hit won't cut it, I'll just keep slicing away!
After beating the spider boss, he gained another 4 levels, putting him at around mid-C rank, as Dongsuk and the other members of the assault team returned to find both Jinwoo and Jinho alive. Remember when I said that the system actually wants Jinwoo to get stronger? This is a great example of it. We're accustomed to Jinwoo receiving experience points from killing magic beasts. However, in this case, with his life being in danger, the system actually triggers an urgent quest forcing Jinwoo to either kill Dongsuk and the members of his assault team, or he himself would die. This was to force Jinwoo in a situation where he had to kill another human being while at the same time continuing to level up from it. And that's exactly what he did.
And just what can a jumped up little E-rank like you even do? I mean, you're the weakest hunter of...
That's one down.
With the paralysis and drain effects of his dagger, he's able to make quick work of the assault team. Even a high C rank, Dongsuk, the strongest of the team, wasn't able to put up much of a fight, as during the entire fight, Jinwoo had been leveling up, and with the relative ease in which he took down Dongsuk, we can estimate Jinwoo at this point to be at least a low C rank.
You see, I've been leveling up this whole time.
This is also supported by Jinwoo when he propositions Jinwoo to join his guild. He determines that Jinwoo has to be B rank or possibly even higher than that.
Boss has to be B rank. No, he's way stronger.
Jinwoo also gained a skill called Murderous Intent, which reduces all enemy abilities by 50% for 1 minute at the cost of 100 mana. This fight also gave us a look into Jinwoo's mental state and his gradual change in character as he considers how he resented Dongsuk and his team, not for attacking him, but for even thinking they stood a chance against him.
The old me definitely would have tried to find a way out of it.
After receiving a key to a S-rank instance dungeon reporting to contain the elixir of life which cures all ailments, it wasn't a matter of if, but rather when he would enter it, as his main motivation for being a hunter in the first place was to be able to pay his mother's hospital bills, so finding a potion that would possibly heal her was not an opportunity he would miss. This should also allow us to gauge his strength against stronger monsters and higher ranked opponents.
I won't give in to fear. I can't get stronger that way. I'll fight, level up, and take what's mine.
We already know based on the color of the Cerberus' name that it would be stronger than Jinwoo. So if we're correct in estimating Jinwoo to be a low B rank, we can also estimate the Cerberus to be at least a low A rank. Since the beginning of the fight, the difference in their strength was clear. This would be the first time we would see Jinwoo completely outmatched in all aspects. And with the Cerberus activating its rage skill, which doubles all its stats for 3 minutes, Jinwoo appeared to have no chance for victory.
Only one choice. More recovery, now!
He unlocks a new skill called Willpower, which reduces all damage received by 50% once his HP falls below 30%, showing us that the system is clearly doing everything it can to keep him alive. As a last resort, he decides to take the risk of ingesting Kasaka's venom gland. However, due to the effects of his Courage of the Weak blessing, which he had gotten from surviving the double dungeon, he doesn't suffer the negative effects of the poison, as the blessing purifies all toxins which enters his body.
Here we go.
He manages to defeat the Cerberus after its rage effect wears off, and gains another 5 levels in the process. At his current strength, however, he realizes that he needs to get much stronger before he is able to go any further to retrieve the ingredients for the elixir. He exits the dungeon as a high B rank.
I'll get stronger and come back. Count on it.
The need to get stronger forces Jinwoo to reconsider the offer made by Jinwoo to join his assault team. He accepts under the condition that only himself and Jinwoo would be entering the dungeons. This would give Jinwoo the opportunity to continue raiding dungeons and gaining levels while keeping his growing power a secret. While Jinwoo makes preparations, Jinwoo decides to accept a dungeon raid which coincidentally leads to a reunion of the survivors of the double dungeon.
Oh my gosh, this is surreal. You are Jinwoo, aren't you?
They are joined by a group of criminals overseen by the Hunters Association recruiter, Kang Taeshik. They can all sense that something is different about Jinwoo. Not only has he gotten stronger, but there's also an ease about him, a strength he didn't have before.
Let's keep it moving, people.
When Kang's true intentions are revealed, party leader Sung Jinwoo attempts to take him on, hoping that a strength buff from Joo-hee, along with her healing magic, would be enough to reduce the gap in power between them. Kang being a high B rank assassin, and Sung being a high C rank mage.
Your hunter abilities are magic focused, so that sword won't do you much good.
Did it work?
While Sung's skills are impressive, Kang manages to evade all of his attacks, leaving Jinwoo no choice but to step in.
Who are you? Jinwoo Sung. E-rank hunter.
Jinwoo appears equal to Kang in strength and speed. However, Kang gets the better of him due to his experience, and through the use of his stealth skill, manages to slice Jinwoo's Achilles tendon, all but guaranteeing his victory.
People have seen me use it, but none of them have ever lived to tell the tale. How's that tendon, by the way?
Kang's bloodlust triggers an urgent quest by the system in the same way it did against Dongsuk and his team. Through the use of a full recovery, Jinwoo is able to heal instantly, and with his new skill Murderous Intent, turns the tables and crushes the victory against Kang.
Wait! What the hell?
He receives 5 ability points as his reward for the urgent quest, as well as Kang's stealth skill as he continues onward to defeat the boss alone. There are a few key points we can take from this fight. The main point being that there's a wide gap of power between ranks, so much so that it's unlikely that a lower ranked hunter would be able to put up a fight against a hunter even 1 rank above them.
Taeshik was one of the strongest B ranks. By all accounts, a C rank mage shouldn't have stood a chance.
This gap between ranks appears to expand even wider the higher one goes in rank. So in theory, an E rank is closer in power to a D rank than a B rank would be to an A rank. We see that when Jinwoo meets Jin Chul, a peak A rank hunter, he quickly realizes that he would stand absolutely no chance against him, and with the knowledge that he may be targeted for revenge by Hwang Dongsuk's younger brother, S rank hunter Hwang Dongsuk, Jinwoo realizes that he needs to get stronger and he needs to do so quickly. This brings us to his C rank dungeon training arc as part of Jinwoo's assault team, where he's able to practice and refine his various skills, advancing his dash skill to level 2 while at the same time acquiring new skills such as Fatal Strike, which causes a critical hit when activated due to his increased dagger proficiency, and Advanced Dagger Wielding, which allows him to deal 33% more damage when using a dagger. During this time, he advances to level 40, achieving the system's required level to take on a job change quest. He determines that he's somewhere between B and A rank, but I believe he's making this assessment using Jin Chul as a standard of what an A rank actually is, keeping in mind that Jin Chul is a peak A rank hunter. Let us assume instead that the significance of level 40 is the point at which his power becomes equivalent to that of a low A rank hunter, being strong enough to take on most challenges while having a good idea of his various strengths and weaknesses. And once he begins his job change quest, we see that it's his knowledge and analysis of his previous fights that allows him to defeat the first set of knights with relative ease, passing his first obstacle.
Different kinds of beasts have different kinds of weaknesses. You need strength for knights, perception for assassins, and agility for archers.
A key point to note is that during this job change quest, you will not be able to use any full recovery, healing potions, or even access the shop to purchase items, all of which we've seen him rely on heavily up to this point. It's likely because of this that he takes an interest in the armor dropped by the knights he just defeated. And it's a good thing he did, because his next challenge would be his most difficult opponent yet, Knight Commander Igris the Blood Red, with a level of difficulty to match. This was definitely Igris' fight to lose, as he had Jinwoo completely outmatched and outclassed in every aspect imaginable. We can estimate Igris to be equivalent to an S rank, and we've already seen the wide gap that exists between a peak A rank hunter and a retired S rank hunter in Jin Chul's spar against Chairman Go Gun Hee. This encounter was no different. Throughout the entire fight, Igris mopped the floor with Jinwoo. Whether it be weapons or hand-to-hand combat, Igris had the clear upper hand, his downfall ultimately being his chivalrous nature, his overconfidence, and his reluctance to make the kill while Jinwoo was down. Jinwoo takes advantage of this and lands a series of fatal strikes to take him down, gaining a few more levels along with the skill Ruler's Hand, which allows him to move items remotely without the cost of any mana. He also receives and equips Igris' S-rank Crimson Knight's helmet, which increases vitality and strength by 20 points while reducing physical damage by 20%. As his actual job change quest begins, Jinwoo is quickly overwhelmed by the growing number of knights. Individually, they are far weaker than Igris, but with the numbers seeming to grow with each one he defeats, it all feels like a never-ending battle. He tries to use his stealth skill to hide his presence and buy himself some recovery time, but he is sensed immediately, rendering that skill useless.
They saw through stealth? Damn!
On the verge of death, perhaps his best skill of all, luck, activates, and he is sent to the penalty zone for failure to complete his daily quests. At one point, this would have been a punishment, but here it quite literally saved his life. He puts these 4 hours to good use, accessing the shop to purchase recovery items, defeating the centipede monsters and gaining some levels in the process, recovering most of his strength as he prepares to return to the job change quest. He also purchases a dagger called Night Killer, which deals 25% more damage when fighting armored opponents.
The rest will come down to luck.
He realizes that while defeating these knights, he doesn't receive any experience points and should have actually been targeting the mages summoning the knights instead. He uses his stealth skill, knowing it would force the mages to search for him, revealing their location in the process. And before long, he manages to take down all 6 mages, effectively completing his job change quest.
Enough of this! Get over here!
The system decides he would be suited for the job of necromancer, which is surprising as along with Jinwoo, I am sure we all expected something along the lines of assassin considering his build. He rejects it at first, but after finding out it's a hidden class and realizing it may help him stand out as a hunter, he reluctantly accepts. With all the awarded points from his performance during the quest, his necromancer class advances to that of Shadow Monarch, giving him 2 additional skills. These are Shadow Extraction and Shadow Storage. Shadow Extraction allows Jinwoo to extract mana from a corpse and turn it into a Shadow Soldier, while Shadow Storage allows him to keep the extracted soldier in his army to summon again at a later time. With this, he creates an army of knights from the recently defeated soldiers, as well as the S-rank knight commander, Igris.
Arise.
He also receives a new title called The One Who Overcomes Adversity, which gives him 1 additional point to all his skills for each % of HP he loses. With that, Jinwoo ends the season as a mid-A rank hunter at around level 51, possibly being able to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Jinchul and come out victorious. And with his shadow army, he may even be able to pose a threat to an S-rank hunter. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment below letting me know if you agree. And if not, what rank do you think Jinwoo is at currently?